And now, the award-winning Simply Youth Ministry podcast with Doug Fields and friends.
We'll come in after that. And we're back. Hey, everybody. Doug Fields here with my friend Jake and my ex-friend Matt.
Hey.
We should talk about that, about what you were going to text me.
Right.
We can't. People just aren't going to understand.
They're not. My mom's in the hospital. and I was running 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
15 minutes late.
Okay.
And Matt get here, and Matt does say, "How's your mom? What's going on? What's the deal with pneumonia?" And he says, "Let me tell you what I was going to text you." And then Jake stopped him.
I did.
Which was a good thing.
Yes.
But we won't talk about that, but that is kind of funny.
I'm a little embarrassed.
I was going to say, embarrassed Matt is one of the rarest
It
animals
is.
in all of creation.
It is.
Look at
It was inappropriate.
You can't even look at the camera right now.
Yeah.
He's slightly teary and
Most of your life right there. You just don't have the
most of my
filter.
life
You just
is
don't have the
so
filter to know what's
He's got a
inappropriate.
little bit of the turtleneck.
Jake, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Dude,
We won a contest.
I know. I actually was so busy last week I didn't hear the show, and
Oh.
I saw Kurt Johnston today, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to do the podcast. He goes, oh, I know. You beat me by a vote to be on, and I had to say,
Man.
for my 7 friends out there, thank you.
That's right.
Thank
So
you.
for those that don't know, we had a little on our live show. We had a
Poll.
the people that are watching live did a poll on who would like to replace Josh or Jana. It was Jana because Jana's in Australia.
Yep.
And Jake won.
I'm so honored.
For those of you who don't know, Jake
man.
Rutenbar grew up in our youth ministry at
Yes.
Saddleback, is now a youth pastor in San Clemente,
Great town.
California,
Yep.
and is the author and creator of many of the funny videos on the website that we've shown at conferences. What are they under? Somebody doesn't know.
You know what? The easiest way to find him is look at Josh Griffin's YouTube account, which is TFN Editor, theforce.net. So TFN
Editor.
And all his anything that we've done falls underneath that.
I know,
So
but what about, who cares what we've done? We want to know what you've done.
that-
Jake.
all my videos.
So they
are on
just
it.
search Jake?
Yeah. I've never uploaded one video on YouTube before in my life. So
His videos have over 15,000 views.
15,000 views. That's Olympic.
yeah,
Like-
it is. It's Michael
No
Phelps'
wonder
ass.
this podcast is on the all-top list.
Hey, you know what? Here's what I did. I put my, normally, Jake, I have my folder here with all the
Okay.
podcast questions.
Definitely.
I took the podcast questions out,
Okay.
but I pulled out the award-winning magazine. Have you seen this?
No.
Oh, yeah, we have an award. Did you not know we're an award-winning
Well,
podcast?
you know what? I've heard it referenced through many a show, but I never realized.
Yeah, so you didn't realize. Here it is.
No.
Reader's Choice Awards, the best. And let me get to it.
But is this a Christian
Oh, here's
magazine?
a copy.
Best ministry theology podcast.
Yeah.
Look, Matt could sleep easy at night knowing, well, it's not just a ministry podcast; it's a theology
That's
podcast.
That's right.
what
So,
he said.
so
Look
you're
at that.
guest sitting at a. Congratulations on winning the bet.
Look at that.
You're a guest sitter on the podcast. I want to let you know you have a little competition though, because I've got an email, and this is from Philip Walker, Student Ministries pastor in Fountain Valley, California,
Right
which
up the road.
it's 20 miles from here.
Yeah.
Okay, 20 miles. He says, several people are vying for the infamous 5th chair in the podcast. I'm going to make my plea. My name is Philip Walker. I'm 25 years old. I'm a youth pastor at Living Waters Christian Fellowship in Fountain Valley, California. It's only about 45 minutes away from you at Saddleback. That's if you drive really slow.
Right.
If there's ever an opening, like when Matt is too busy meeting with Rick Warren, or when Josh is stuck in airports because he can't catch his flight, or Jana's off having babies, I would like to be considered. Here are my top 3 reasons. 1, I'm African American, and you have no minorities on the podcast.
That is big.
Wow.
I would hate to have to call Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton about this. People have called you a minority before, though.
Yeah.
They have.
That's right.
Number
He's a
2,
minority in all his
I'm
opinions.
pretty close,
Mental minority.
so if someone doesn't show up, I could give a quick call and I could be there. 3, I will bring food to all podcasts.
Oh.
See,
Says, ha ha ha, I'm just kidding, but kinda serious.
I was going to say,
Do you think he was kidding about being African American?
Oh, I don't know. I doubt it.
that would have been a strange thing to kid about.
Yeah. I mean,
But
and then he
said
then
at
he
the beginning,
shows
right
up.
after that
Right.
list.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think he's kidding about that. Some things people don't get about. There are some issues that are sensitive, like
Right.
moms in the hospital, intensive care, things like that that you don't
man.
joke about. Anyway,
Yeah.
Listen to
Are
advice.
none of
Can we
us
talk about
minorities?
Listen to advice.
None of us are minorities. Is that true?
I don't know.
What's
I'm
Jana?
an elitist. That's a minority.
That's true. That's true. Hey, but he has a question. Philip has a question.
Griff's homeschooled. That's a minority.
Hey, do you have a favorite ministry moment? Do you know? You didn't listen to the show last week
No, I did not listen to this last
Ministry
week.
highlight from the summer.
because Matt was
Oh,
so
this
mad
summer,
after the show.
I do have from this summer.
Matt was mad after the show.
I'm
Should we talk
serious.
about that?
I was sad.
Yeah, sad. More sad than
Yeah, I
mad.
was sad.
He was sad that he didn't have really any good ministry moments.
Because his ministry moments were like this one time I cracked open an Excel sheet and everything
Yeah.
lined up correctly.
Exactly.
And so I got to send an email to the teams and say, way to go, way to go.
I got to listen to Jake, and he was teaching, and I wasn't.
You did Twitter about me, though. And that
Yeah,
was a
that
highlight.
you did.
And you almost made Erin cry because she was so happy when she saw that.
What'd you see?
She just thought that was very sweet.
Because he twittered and said, "I'm listening to Jake Rubenbar teach high school
He
students."
said, like, he capitalized.
and he's
Teach
awesome.
awesomely or something, so
That's
it was
great. Look at
Power of
you.
encouragement.
You know what?
Who taught me
Words
about encouraging
words
others?
are powerful,
man.
Matt.
We could make a diagram right
I
now.
just
with
love
the
it
love
that
being
I
passed
just
down.
love it that when I'm not around. Actually, there was a great email a guy sent in and said, "It was amazing, Fields, when you left the room. Matt was really good."
Gosh.
He was sensitive. He was encouraging.
Dude, that makes it's all about the roles. That's
It's
part.
all about
See,
the balance.
the people at home. What you have to understand is there's a persona that one must play in the media. When you're on this side of the microphone,
Me and Biggie's
you
falls
got to wear a
in.
hat. You got to. I mean, Fields is driving it. He's the driver hat. You got to learn to compliment on the side. You got.
Hat is the
You've
driver
got
hat.
the
Truck
you got the
driver hat.
play-by-play and the color players. I mean, there's.
Oh,
I
you don't-
could just see Matt having. Yeah.
That's good. So anyway, I'll find it. It's in here somewhere.
No, I trust you.
Yeah, but it was very funny. It was like because there was one a few weeks ago, or a couple episodes ago. I had to leave like 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
Do we want to answer a question? It's the only ministry I do all week.
Highlight for your fall right off the bat.
That's right. Well, and if you ever answer a question, that's actually. He says the health of my church is extremely poor. This is Philip Walker who wants to sit in.
Oh, the same guy. Okay.
yeah,
cool.
and to sit in, I'm not sure you start with that
The guy
that
who
statement.
we think is African American, but we're not sure.
Yeah, who
Okay.
wants the
Well,
fifth
everyone else
seat?
is sure but me.
He might just be.
I'm
I mean,
sure.
I'm not sure. I,
Okay.
believe
I
you.
don't think you'd lie about that.
Well, he said kidding.
The health of my church is extremely poor. I have young people who are at the church 4 to 5 times a week. My leaders and students are tired and exhausted, but refuse to choose just one ministry. They say they want to be involved in several, but every 6 months we seem to be back at this point of frustration and exhaustion. What are some practical things I can do to make our youth ministry and our church healthy? Well, I'll throw a quick comment in. My thing that I would say, Philip, is that but they refuse to choose one ministry. When I read that the first time, I thought, you're giving them the option.
Right.
This is when you need to be a leader and step up and say, no, here's what, starting September, now that school's started, here's the deal. We're
Yeah.
wiping all the ministries clean. You can join a ministry, but you have to just choose one. I know some of you do 5, you think you can do 6, you can juggle them, but here's what's going to happen, and here's the reason why. But you don't let them refuse to choose just one. You just tell them that that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think that you have a church and not a monastery, and so that people are supposed to be there while they're still in their real life and making a difference in the world. So if they're there all the time, they're just kind of escaping their world and their chance to have an influence and make a difference.
So how would you say that to them if you're the visionary leader now? You're saying,
Well, right now I'd probably say something about a monastery.
yeah, then you'd have to
Explain what a monastery
explain
is.
what a monastery.
Yeah, you would be the only people that don't know what a monk is.
No way.
It's like a monk
Teenagers
in the Middle
today
Ages
would know
ran
what a
into
monastery
tree.
is.
Yeah,
Didn't
when was the
it?
last time you talked to a teenager?
Wow.
So long ago. so.
I would try and make some personal connection off the top of my head to evangelism and say, hey, if we're going to pull back on how much stuff we're doing that's maybe a little more inclusive, everybody circled in. Let's make a focus. You're going to do one ministry, and each of the people in this circle, who I'm guessing the kids who are really connected and committed, each of us are going to commit. We all have to bring one friend within the next month, and kind of use it as a challenge where utilize that energy to be real involved, to go out and do something new in a new area.
Teach about balance.
It's so easy to be exclusive in a youth ministry, and lack, what exclusive would mean lack of balance.
Right. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That you have to, as a leader, what I would say, Philip, is you have to beat that drum constantly. Josh and I were talking about this last week. He'd gone away from vacation, they've been at camp, and some things got a little out of kilter, and we said, hey, man, that's part of it. You got to say it every week until people get it, and then when you think they've got it, you got to repeat it.
Keep pounding it.
And Philip also had a marriage question, and Kathy and I, when we were driving back from the hospital, not getting Matt's text that I'm so thankful he didn't send. Thank you, Jay.
Yes.
But we talked about next week we're going to come in. Andy, so next week Kathy and I are going to do a marriage podcast. All right.
Do you want to give that to Brazel so you don't listen?
No, I'm going to put it in my award-winning magazine right here because I'm going to throw everything else
This is
away. I'm going to
amazing.
keep
The
this.
award you guys won.
But thank you for always being there to help me organize and manage
You're welcome.
my world. I do appreciate that. This is from Patrick McDaniel from Royal Oak, Michigan. He says, I've been listening to the show for about 3 months and really enjoyed it. In fact, you guys have been a very big encouragement to me. I look forward to watching every week. I only wanted to comment on the way Matt acted after Doug left the last show. It was amazing. No jokes and all business. Matt went from being the comic relief to being a thoughtful mentor.
Oh, man.
Kudos to Doug for teaching him how.
That timing was excellent. Excellent work, Doug.
All right. Aaron Shaner from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
That's Coopstown.
In case you forget where Virginia Beach is.
We're yep. Yes, we are. Okay, we are.
You're not supposed to say a name?
No. I already said it was. Are you going to do the Marriage and Youth Ministry podcast? That was the question. So there wasn't a question about it.
Prepping that.
Yeah, I prepped that right before I had to go to the hospital, Matt.
Virginia Beach.
Kind of lost focus there.
Wow.
But you
Now
can
there will
understand about things
become
like
a point where you could
Yeah.
play that card too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
he's way
established this
beyond that.
long ago with Matt and his mom passing away. He plays the card too much
Oh, not
to be on the point.
Yeah,
of
but
sympathy.
not in a 40-minute podcast.
Okay.
Where Matt is already feeling guilty and
I don't feel
shameful.
guilty.
Well, and that is
You
fun,
don't
man,
anymore?
dude.
You've lost your guilt?
No,
I've lost the
you're,
vote.
I don't
look,
think so.
you're already backing down. He's smiling. He's guy.
What two people in the world know you better than me and Jake?
You're right.
Okay.
If only the niche
Maybe
would mock as
Misha
well.
McGuire would be up there too. But yeah.
Misha McGuire?
Misha and
Oh,
McGuire.
okay. I don't know about Jeff. I don't know. Sometimes I see him look past you. Doesn't really get everything about you.
Nobody does.
Hey, you know what? I interviewed
knows its own
Jeff last
No
week
one
for
else
Group
shares the
Magazine. Jeff did a great job. He did a great job. It was on Nuts and Bolts of Youth Ministry.
Awesome.
And I've, last 6 months or so, I've been interviewing people for the magazine.
Yeah.
He was great.
I just got the one with your and Hutch's interview. And
Megan,
It was
yep.
awesome. It was very good.
Megan just had a new book came out. Sat on my desk last night. I need to call her.
Cool.
Something Survivors. Secret Survivors. Real life stories of people who are hurting.
Soul Survivors?
I don't know. But it looked great. Matthew Smithberg says, I'm the creepy poem guy. I was bored at work and decided to write you a poem. No, Matt, I didn't make up my name, and limericks suck.
Oh.
Remember that from last week?
How can you say
Creepy
limericks
poem.
suck?
They don't.
Yeah.
It's clearly an
This is
oversight.
from Mike McGarry, Norfolk, Massachusetts. Mike, I will let you know that I read your opening paragraph, and thank you very much. That was very nice.
Why don't you bring us
That's
in?
well-
It's all sappy,
Oh, okay.
but I just wanted to let him know
He
that I didn't
appreciates
just
Doug.
skip that
Yes.
and go
you
right to the
acknowledge
question.
it, but you're going to skip it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I know that
Skip acknowledgement,
if you like to afterwards, you read it
and I'll tell
That'd be
you.
okay.
I'll tell you if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Maybe you could learn
Okay.
a little bit more about leading after that.
or affirmation. I know
prefer
that
the
you
one this
have your
quarter.
Rooted classes or Bible Institute or whatever you call it now. What do we actually call it now? Rooted. But what are some other resources you know of that would be good to do with teens in a shorter, more youth groupy setting? similar to Rooted?
Mad Magazine.
Well, here's what I thought about with this. I thought this is where we could get some podcast emails, because here's the only thing I thought of when I read it was Billy Beacham's Disciple Now stuff, which is kind of a booklet type thing, walk through that deal. But I really don't know of a lot of resources like that are
What about
more.
that online leadership stuff? You subscribe to it? Whose is that? You and I met with that guy?
Randy Hall, Student Life.
That's
Yeah.
more curriculum, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that what this guy
Fancy,
does?
Well, he's talking about like a Rooted, something that has a little bit more.
A little bit more meat than your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Fat chance finding that.
That's right.
Well, why don't we do this?
you
For
find
those
it,
those
send
of
it
you that
along.
know it, know really good, not necessarily curriculum, but not weekly topical curriculum, but something that
More
like
dense.
like Rooted, that's a little goes a little deeper than the surface on something. Send it to us, and we'll promote it. This is from Lyle Parker.
This is so tight on my head.
Isn't everything though?
Did you get the wrong one?
No, that's why you always do this.
You guys, I just want to point out, I've never had a normal microphone to wear. I think on the show, I've always had like a crappy,
Yeah.
like
Graduated.
there's
This
been like
is an
one
award-winning
wrapped around my
podcast.
throat, or like I was talking into one on the table that Brazel gave. I'm
Talk
very
about
comfortable.
elitist.
I'm very.
You're a
comfortable right
sub.
now.
You're a sub on our show, and you're
Yeah.
complaining about the microphones.
Yeah. As a guest, to be brought in and to be treated substandardly, yes, I will claim elitist.
All right,
on
so
that.
here's the new poll I'd like you to do.
Okay.
Would you rather have Jake, who complains about the microphones, or Kurt Johnson, who would be grateful with anything, who's just
He
a
would be
good
so
old guy?
grateful.
We'll
Kurt-
bring it to the mat.
Or
Kurt would be grateful,
Megan.
but here's my question: if Kurt came in here, you wouldn't give him the crappy microphone?
Oh, sure we would. We'd give him the
No.
same one you got.
No, Brazel wouldn't.
Yeah, of course he would. What
I'd
else?
give up my microphone for Kurt.
No.
It's all stretched now.
Yeah, it's all. Nobody would like that.
Now I could actually move.
He'd have to wear it around his shoulders and tilt it back up to his head.
All right, this is from Dave Frank from Faith Lutheran Church. Don't know where. I have two students who are pregnant.
What?
So stupid. Ding.
That was the
Old
little
school.
bell.
I know that was.
We knew what you were doing,
I
Matt.
know,
Thanks for the
I know.
explanation.
Sometimes your D- humor is funny to me.
It is.
Because here's the deal: it's B- across the board, but we both know he thinks it's A, and that's what's funny.
You're exactly right. You nailed that perfectly.
That wasn't E, that was like A minus.
See that bit again.
Dave Frank says, I currently have two students who are pregnant in the ministry, one graduated senior and the other upcoming senior. What I want to figure out is the best way to minister to them and communicate that this is a ministry who wants to walk alongside of them, but not send the message to the rest of the ministry that we are okay with teenage pregnancy. What have you guys done in the past with this issue? Very interesting, timely social.
Definitely.
But here's the question:
Yeah.
will Matt know
Yes.
why this is timely?
Let's see. He gets a
Sarah
CNN
Palin's
Twitter now.
daughter.
Wait, whose?
I can't say her last name.
Oh.
Was it Palin?
Yeah, but why would you say "of course"?
Of course I know that.
Because he gets
When
a CNN Twitter now.
when have you
I'm
really?
so up to date
Since when?
on
Let's be
Since
honest.
he
Be
became
very
a big
honest.
church member.
When have you started paying attention to social events?
Never. I still don't. I got a Twitter, and I actually, when I read it, I don't mind admitting this. I have no shame or embarrassment in this. I read that, I was like, Sarah, is there any chance? This is me holding my phone, by the way.
Okay.
Is there any chance that's the name of a man? And so I went to the website because I hadn't seen anything. That was all I saw was just a Twitter, Sarah Palin.
That was.
And I'm like,
that McCain's nominee.
That McCain's nominee
Okay.
had, and I just thought, holy smokes, that's crazy if this is a girl. But
Right.
I wouldn't have been totally surprised for it to be some, weird dude from the Ozarks that his name was Sarah.
No offense, Ozark listeners.
Yeah, I don't even know where the Ozarks are.
Lake of the Ozarks,
Yeah,
Missouri.
it's like Alaska.
Missouri. Mizzou is what we like to call that in the football world.
I just made that up, but I think that's true.
I think Ozarks
Missouri.
are farther east.
No,
like
Missouri.
Virginia.
One
It's like
No, I don't-
Pennsylvania
I don't
Dutch.
know. What's the mountains out that way?
See how
Adirondacks?
quick I was to bet.
Yeah,
I should have baited that one a little bit more.
I backed up.
I don't know.
I
You
just
want
lost
to
a
bet?
bet the other day. It was bad.
That was
Okay,
a
so Sarah.
Palin. Palin. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyhow, she is a
Central
woman.
Missouri.
I found out she is a woman,
Yeah.
Yes.
and The news said she had a pregnant daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17.
Newspaper today said she hit the ball out of the park last night at the convention. I didn't watch it.
I watched a bit of it. I was
watching the modern day Carson game, triple overtime.
dude.
Oh, that's not insider.
Well, high school football.
High school football.
Yeah,
Oh.
seriously.
That's not insider.
Oh, I didn't see that, but that sounds like it must have been an
oh
awesome
my
one.
gosh.
That's
Anyway.
awesome. Okay.
There's tons of like Twitter jokes about Sarah Palin.
Looking like Tina Fey.
No,
First thing I thought when I saw her, she looks like Tina Fey.
it says little known
Oh, I
fact,
hadn't thought
Sarah
that.
Palin, blah blah blah. I
Oh,
mean, if you search Sarah Palin for
I thought the
Twitter,
front page of the newspaper after that could have been who? With a question
Yeah.
mark.
Dude, watching the convention last night, I was floored
I didn't watch the
at
convention.
how detached people who are involved in that process are from normal human beings. Like, the whole thing is so...
What do you mean?
Like, I'm watching it, never having watched a convention in my whole life, going, this is the most... Talk about exclusive to somebody new to it. From everything from, like, people wearing the hats, like how they wear, like, cowboy-type weird hats that they wear, all the signs, like, it just looks... It looks faker than Christianity. It looks so fake and so weird. I
And
was
that's
like...
hard to do.
It's super hard to do. I mean, everything... They clapped for her. When she came out on stage, they clapped for close to 5 minutes. And I only imagine that they were just trying to compete because I'm sure the Democrats gave Joe Biden a super long standing ovation. So I'm sure
So that's
all
the
of
other
it
guy
is
Joe
just...
Biden.
Yes,
I
Joe
didn't know
Biden
that.
is Obama's running mate.
And is he a man?
But
or a
dude,
woman?
it's just it's up to you to decide.
Joanne.
Josephine.
Biden.
It's just such a weird process, dude. Like the fact that they applaud after every 3 words that she says. I couldn't even watch it. It was so. I was excited to hear what she had to say, and I couldn't watch it.
Okay.
Now, does Joe Biden have a military career and was a POW?
No, each
He
of
was
the-
actually chained to McCain in Vietnam.
I can imagine that.
No, but
That was
he did
good.
say a very interesting deal when Biden spoke, because I thought in terms of the depth of friendship, he says John McCain is my friend. We're really good friends, but I disagree with him on, and then he just went to rip him, and I thought, gosh, you know what? I'm not sure that I wouldn't mind my really good friends talking to me about what they disagree with, but yeah.
on a stage.
Yeah, it was
to
just
the
it was
world. right.
really awkward and bizarre.
Yeah.
So
Sorry for that tangent. I just thought the convention
Dude, this is
weird.
politics. Is this podcast?
Interesting.
Which,
So-
by the way, I won by 5 votes.
Whoa,
for
what are you-
who should
what?
Be on the next show.
my sister calling about my
Oh
mom.
man.
Why would you go
Am I
back
am I
there?
okay
Who should be on the next show?
putting ignore?
Brazel?
You got 2 votes. Kirk got 5. I got 10.
Dang, where's my 7 peeps? Who
Ask
was
people.
here last
Ask
time?
ask how many people want to have Jake replace me.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah.
Zero.
Oh, everybody will. I guarantee it.
No way.
There'll be 1 vote from me,
No.
and there'll be
'Cause-
7 votes
They're
for
freaking
you.
out. They're not liking that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Matt, why do you even do that?
I'm
You
dead.
know what? It's
no,
it's
don't
really,
even try to
Is that
accuse
his-
me
is
of
that
being
his-
fake.
It's a jerk move. You do it once every month
You-
as a
you-
confidence boost. It's a confidence boost. You do it to
You
Griff.
know
it
you're
insecurity?
lying so bad.
Is it
I lost to
insecurity?
Griff. I would lose to you.
Hook up the lie detector right now. Hook it
Matt
up.
wants to quit and start another house church.
Wow, the online people.
Oh,
they have the
man.
pulse.
All right, hey,
I guess they don't get inside
Dave
jokes, do they?
Dave
Yeah,
Franks.
seriously.
Dave Franks. Dave, over the years, here's the deal.
Brazel
Is
gets it. It
love,
is so hot in
It
here.
is
I'm
hot
sorry.
in here.
Yeah, Brazel.
I know.
Work
Oh
on that.
goodness, we need a swamp cooler.
I have no idea what that is.
The Ozarks know.
Okay.
My sister just left a message about my mom.
Okay. Can you
Break
take
the
your
left
call?
3. I'm
Go
No,
ahead.
I don't think so. I can
My
do it.
goal is just to get Brazel.
Dude, the pregnancy question we're still on.
Pregnancy question is by showing love to a girl who's pregnant, you're not communicating to the rest of the youth ministry that you believe in teenage pregnancy. So I would say you can communicate more to the kids in your youth ministry by showering her with love and grace. She already feels awkward and shameful, and I don't think, most kids in the youth ministry are not going, man, I wish I was pregnant to receive that kind of attention.
Right.
But
Speaking of shower, should the youth ministry throw her a baby shower?
ooh, interesting.
See, I think that's a great idea. I think it would mean more, especially speaking of how Christians are strange, it would mean more to break some of the stigma around it and find ways to support. I think than anything. I think that's huge to make her feel supported and embraced.
Now
during that time.
imagine the phone calls you're going to get as a
I
youth
know.
pastor.
You're,
As a youth group.
You would be asking for it.
Yeah, throwing a baby shower for a
You'd be
pregnant girl in
asking
your
for it.
ministry.
But I love it. I think that'd be.
Well, obviously, I think you
Yeah.
you
Just
come
tell them
along.
Jesus was invited and they weren't.
You come alongside and make sure that she's cared for and loved on and has the stuff that she needs to to celebrate it publicly like that. That's a really interesting discussion.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that without a serious discussion with parents, because parents may not want that
Sure.
celebrated.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a story once of someone got pregnant and the family they wouldn't do something at all, anything at all for the mom until the baby was born. And I just thought that was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
just because the guilt's already there.
Yeah.
And if it's not, nothing you do is going to make it be there. So
Do you
why
have your
not
hand
be
like that because
positive?
you're hiding in shame for a couple of
From your earlier comments, or
I'm just trying to hold my head up because my neck is a little sore.
I saw your Twitter about your neck hurts and
Oh,
now
yeah,
you
what'd
can't
you
look
do?
at Doug.
Now I don't have to look at Doug.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did you try to attempt an exercise?
No,
We
no. I was typing away, and then I just did a stretch, and next thing I know, my whole body, my neck.
did a stretch. That's what this is. Looking over your left shoulder is a stretch. Hey Matt,
Oh.
little stretch.
I did one of my good ones.
You know what? This would be a great one for people to comment on. As a youth
Yeah.
pastor,
Yeah, but if you're judgmental and lame, don't even give us your feedback.
Thank you.
well, that's not what judgmental and lame is not a position.
No, it's a position we just
By
have
the way,
no.
you
We don't
making
need
that
to
comment
hear.
judgmental at the very least. You
Oh
can
yeah, I'm
debate whether or not
judging the
it's lame.
judgmentals. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I think you show them incredible love. I'd really have to think and wrestle with that one about the youth group throwing
The shower. Yeah, you're right.
a shower.
I think more of a personal, like just as a group of friends.
Yeah,
It wasn't
small
something you
group or
promoted at the
something like that.
weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, but clearly, if the girl's in a small group and the small group threw a shower, as a youth pastor, I'd want to support something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it to be anything, and again, I'll put out the disclaimer of young idiot, but I think
Well, then don't say
I'd
it.
go to the side of no, I want to say it. I'd go to the side of not feeling like you always need to explain that you don't support teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to put that disclaimer out every 5 seconds and support this girl.
Like, hey, we're having a baby shower. We don't approve of this action.
Right. I mean, Christians have spent plenty of time establishing that they don't want teenagers to get
Yeah.
pregnant outside of marriage.
What about celebrating the fact that she didn't choose abortion?
I think that's excellent. That's a great angle.
Get a
to take, too.
non-abortion shower.
And that might be some good ammo. The non-abortion shower is interesting, to say the least. I don't know if they have that at Party City at your local neighborhood store.
When she
What's
do,
your
we need to.
non-abortion
We don't have enough
party
kids. We
favors?
adopted.
That's right. What do you have now? 7? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
We've got a lot.
Do the people know the next baby's name?
I don't even know if I know.
So we
the
got
baby's
Max, Mark, Morgan,
name. Miller.
Miller, and Miller is like officially yours on the 7th of this month.
This Saturday is
This
the last
Saturday is
day
Miller
that
Day.
the mom
That's a
can
big day.
reclaim him. Yeah, last night
Now
one of the
that's a
babies
party.
was crying.
That
yeah,
is
it'll
a
be
party.
fun. That's a party youth group's having.
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute, I'm not part of a youth group.
But you can send an email
I
in
can send an
celebration.
email, that's
and
right.
feel the community.
That's right.
Poor Matt, he's gonna cry at least an hour
Yeah.
tonight again.
But you
No,
know
no,
what?
no.
You could do a spreadsheet of where all the youth workers live.
Totally. Dang it, I was gonna say. Oh, last night somebody was crying, and I said the wrong name. I said, Miller's crying, and Mark corrects me. So my number 2 son corrects me. He's like, "That's not Miller, that's Morgan." I looked at him and I said, "They're all the same."
Hey,
That's awesome.
you know, Tori will be 20 this year, and I always say to Cassie, Tori,
Yeah.
hey, Tori, Cody,
Yeah, I don't think it really bothers them. I mean, in real life, outside your family, it bothers people.
Yeah.
Do you think it bothers your kids?
I think it might bother Cassie being the youngest,
Yeah.
Yes.
and she's been in the shadow of brother and sister
Yeah.
for so long that when I say, hey, Tori,
Yeah, that's the only.
Between
'cause
Max
Cody
and
wouldn't
Mark,
care if you
I
called
haven't
him,
seen
if
it.
you said Tori to Cody, other than you want to make fun of your parents for calling you a boy's name or a girl's
Yeah.
name. Because
Cody's
my
kind
mom
of a
would
girl's
call
name.
me, all of us, especially when they're flustered, every single name. That's the best, is when you list off every name but the right one, which my mom and dad used to do constantly.
That's awesome.
But I could see the comparison one being difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had
Okay, don't you think?
No, I had a question about the adoption, and I just
Oh, what was the name of the new baby? Are you trying to keep that a secret?
No.
You don't know? I know.
No, I
clearly.
said no, and I'm thinking about it. Mac.
Mac.
Yeah. Mac.
M-A-C, M-A-K.
M-A-C.
And when will he be born?
November 17th.
So you're going to have
14th.
5 kids under the age of 5.
No,
Mac.
6.
6.
5 kids under the age of 6. 3 of them under 1.5. I don't know. I said to Mish, like, right before we adopted this baby, I'm like, now, would it be legitimate for us to not adopt this baby since we're having another one? And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're crazy? And she's like, yeah. And I go, okay, great.
Now, did you have any part of the decision?
Well, that was the discussion about
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's what I'm opening the curtain and showing you the discussion.
That was his intro.
So,
That was the discussion.
but
Yeah.
really, here's the deal. Like I said before, and I'm sure everyone remembers because they codify my words, is that as long we can have as many kids as the Mish wants, as long as my standard of living doesn't go down.
I think Shondell heard that once and got angry.
Have I said that on the podcast?
I don't think so. I'm
I
not sure.
don't-
I just
Never
think
said anything like
I
that.
think it's just funny that you would say that and you've married into millions. So your standard of living will never really go down.
Oh gosh, you are so lame. Married to millions doesn't mean anything.
You didn't know his millions of
And
children.
Oh,
hey,
gosh.
let's put it this way: it means a lot more than it means to me.
But it doesn't mean anything
I can
like
show
today.
you.
It doesn't mean anything.
Oh, wait a second. In terms of vehicles and Christmas gifts,
Christmas gifts are not outrageous.
Now, before the two of you have a
Wait,
conversation
wait,
about
wait.
having sweet stuff, shouldn't me and the youth pastors out there just look at both of your guys?
Okay, but
situations?
everyone needs to know, first of all, my line about the Mish, like I've said to her, it's a total joke, so don't take that seriously. Because my standard of living has gone down a little bit. Like I woke up a couple times last night. But other than that,
It's just to get a
all right,
snack.
all right.
it was to get, hey Mish, while you're feeding the baby,
Right.
get me.
Can you give me one? This is from Russell Vaughn. He says, several times on the show or in the fantastic youth ministry books I have heard it said it's always to be looking for adult volunteers to get plugged into the youth ministry. I realize most student ministries struggle with finding adults who care and
Is this
actually...
going to be the first guy that doesn't? Sorry.
You are so wise to filter ahead.
I'm
And
just
interrupt.
I'm
No, that's
sorry.
right.
I did tell you I was not going to interrupt you.
He says, I have a youth group of 60 to 70 kids and 13 quality adult leaders. There are still several people in our church who want to get plugged in, would do a great job, but I feel we have way too many adults around. Is it good to keep some people on the edge to pull in when growth happens, or would you pull in as many caring adult volunteers as you can?
That's cool. I just had to do math to try and figure out what that was.
Yeah, what was the ratio?
Well, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Well,
I-
70 kids and 13.
60 kids at 13.
It's about 1 to
Or
6.
70.
You can just round down. to
Yeah, I mean, I could have rounded up to.
Well, you're right, Russell. Most of us in this room can't relate to that. As a matter of fact, Pastor Rick this weekend is making an announcement that we need more small group leaders because we had more kids
How
sign up
awesome
for.
is that, by the way?
Yeah, it was great.
That was a great meeting yesterday.
Yeah, you got excited about that. I left like at
Yeah,
50 minutes in. Did it get better?
I'm sure.
Did you take notes for me?
Yes.
Could you send them to me in a spreadsheet?
You knew where I was going, right? Oh, gosh.
I would say yes. If people want to get plugged in, the fact that you have 13 quality leaders, double up your small groups. So,
Co-leaders.
you know, let's get, if you got 70 kids, what if you had 70 leaders that were quality and they each mentored, cared for one of the kids? I know that's not necessarily realistic, but, you know, why keep good people that want to be plugged in? You're obviously doing something right. One, if you're attracting quality leaders,
Right.
and two, if you got people who want to get in. Okay. You guys want to add to that? Anything?
I was just gonna say, I think definitely go for more. I just went through a season actually in our ministry in San Clemente of having, we got a bunch of new weekend leaders for kind of a new format and thing we're doing on the weekend where we split the junior high and high school up for the first little part of the service. So we're locked and loaded on small groups. We got a bunch of new weekend leaders, and I kind of went into a mental coast of like, we've got it. I don't need to push for new leaders right now, and I felt that feeling of like we're doing pretty good on it. And over the summer, we lost like 7 leaders. We lost it just quick, and all legitimate. Not one of them like a
You must not be caring
angry frustration. I know, just move away, different seasons. So I just feel exactly of that, of just coming out of it going, oh man, I should have been priming the pump. I should have been priming the pump more often, and just finding whether it's even just keeping office options, helping out with stuff during the week, or like you said, co-leading. I think that's a great idea. So
if you would have been Twittering more and get your volunteers on your Twitter, not necessarily the masses.
Okay.
Guys twittering each other, keeping going what's going on. Have a little more community. Maybe those 6 wouldn't have left, Jake.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Be communicating clearly
I was
with them.
wondering when the payoff
Have you
for
signed
that
up
joke was
for
gonna
Have you
come.
signed up for Andy's 30-day free trial of text messaging?
Good question.
No, I have not. But we actually already had a text service we were using.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Andy, how's that going?
Really good.
It's awesome.
Is it?
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
I still
think.
think it's crazy that people would use that and not use Twitter.
Oh gosh, I would not use Twitter.
No.
Twitter you have to sign up for.
Twitter, you got to filter through everybody, what they're writing, but the text thing that Simply Youth Ministry does, it gives you 30 days free, right, Andy?
Yes.
Which doesn't seem
And
like
it's
long enough. You ought to give more than that. I think
It's a good trial.
30 days is a great trial.
I think 120 days is a great trial.
Oh, you do?
I think for the rest of the year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Why don't we do that? Why don't we say for those that listen to the podcast, we haven't messed with you in a long time.
Yeah.
For those that
Look at how
listen,
bright he's turning.
for those
He's
that listen
turning
to the
more embarrassed
podcast,
than McGill making inappropriate comments.
yeah.
for those that listen to the podcast, get a free trial till the end of the year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Can you
But
make
what
that
happens
happen?
if everybody just tells each other?
They won't. Just the people that listen to the podcast.
Yeah, be honest.
Go.
You have to have at least listened to 20 shows. And you don't need to prove it. You just need to not lie and be able to go to
Okay,
bed.
if you're a regular podcast listener, let's do that. Regular podcast
And
listener,
you've listened to
120
it,
days?
you get the free promo till the end of the year.
and
December 31st.
Yeah, December 31st.
Wow.
and
Dude, it's a great
and you have
service,
to have
too.
had listened to at least 20 shows.
That's what Matt says. I say you have to be a regular.
What is
Yeah.
regular?
I don't know.
Leave
I
it
know you
vague,
don't
Matt.
know. Why does it
Leave
take?
it alone.
Huh? You a boomer?
Oh,
Don't try and. Yeah.
I have
boomer.
exact answers.
I'm a buster.
You are a buster.
I'm gamer generation.
Really?
Okay, free
Fable 2 is coming
podcast
out?
for 120 days.
Okay, they have to use a promo code of some kind.
Okay, podcast.
Brazel.
Great.
Podcast.
Okay.
Brazel's wallet.
How about my wife is in Labor Day sale?
That was the best thing I've ever seen. Brazel.
Did she know that you put that up?
That was
Printed
very.
it out for Landon's baby book.
That was funny. My
Brazel.
wife is in Labor Day sale.
It was
That was Riley's idea.
awesome.
It's funny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, your wife looked so much better than you in that.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So, okay, podcast regulars. Anyway,
Okay, so the promo code is podcast.
podcast,
So no
end of the
spaces.
year just for podcast people.
Okay.
Everybody
I think
else,
the promo code
all
should
the
be
oth-
Hokeman.com.
all the other slackers
Just
can get the 30-day. But Jake, that's one way keeping track of your youth workers.
Yeah. I didn't realize I dropped the ball on that.
That's funny.
If I only knew
So
that
I would
Simply
say
Hey,
Russell,
but back to
get
that
him,
question.
get him.
Back to that question, might be actually good to have a little practical help, Russ, is maybe you
You
can
missed that
think...
first part.
Yeah, well, anyhow. It might be good to try and think of some different things that you can use leaders for. I mean, maybe there are things that you are doing that you think, oh, I can never pass this off to somebody else. Maybe you try and rethink that, and you rethink what are some new and different ways you can engage leaders. And maybe it's time intensive and at the beginning, but later it frees you up to come up with the next greatest idea for your ministry. So.
Well, and also when you're taking on people that, and you think, man, we've got 13, and to take on 2 more or 3 more, you might even say to them ahead of time, like we've done with table leaders. When we say to table leaders, you know what, this is a rough ministry. Some kids are going to come sit at your table.
Right.
They're going to see their friends. They're going to get up from that table and go to another table. You just got to have a little bit thick skin,
Right.
and you kind of warn them ahead of time. Maybe I would say, hey, right now we've got all of our small groups covered, but would love to have you on the team to co-lead a small group. And then when we have the opportunity, when that small group grows and we want to launch a new one, you become, so kind of warn them ahead of time so they're not sitting around going, what should I do, what should I do? But I would not turn good people away from being on your team. The deeper question is then, how are you going to care for them? And that's where I kind of went off
Twitter
onto the
answers all
little
those questions.
Totally.
text thing.
Which is very insightful.
Yeah.
You guys know technology.
Well, to lose 6 volunteers in summer,
You've
Jake.
never even posted
Look at me.
a
You guys
YouTube
know.
video.
Yeah.
Do you
I
have?
just-
It was actually 7
Should we
volunteers.
7 volunteers? You know about that?
He said 7 earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just
All right.
took one off.
Yeah,
I just suck a little bit.
7 volunteers. We
Well,
should write an
why-
article on how to lose 7 volunteers in a summer. Really?
Yeah. Let's move on to the next
All
question.
right. Because maybe there's a place where you kind of step back and go, whoa, I wonder if I did anything.
Oh, there certainly is.
There is now.
Yeah. No, there has been for a
Okay.
while.
Okay. Because
Oh, we got 4 minutes left.
you had said that there was legitimate.
That's from the end of the small group season up through the beginning of this one. So
Yeah, so 2
Yeah.
months.
It is so
Yeah.
hot. Let's do one more question.
Hey, here's the one, Matt. I want you to answer for. This is from a brother in Ireland, Colin
Oh.
Maxwell from Northern Ireland. He has a question, and I thought this was a good one to answer on. Much better than
Yeah,
More Than Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.com.
MoreThanDodgeball.com is Josh Griffin's blog. Much better than More Than Dodgeball is where you answer some questions.
that used to be a great
And-
site.
And
Still is.
here's the question. He writes a little bit about what's going on with the church and sharing a building and different things like that, but it comes down to how can I get more efficient? Okay, now he's speaking your language, isn't he? How can I get more efficient in this
Certainly not
situation?
yours.
And I'm not letting the church down. So I thought you could do a thing on being efficient. Is that okay?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I'll give it a fair whack of the Blarney Stone.
All right, Andy.
Yo.
We got a Dave B question
I would
to
love to go to Ireland.
June 3rd about the podcast, and then since you didn't respond right away, Nadeem got the same one on 6/5. There's another one from. There was a couple that had podcast
Whoa,
questions.
he's working at 2 different churches.
Matt, this guy, Sean Kolick, like the baby thing, St. Charles, Missouri. I just finished listening to episode 80 and wanted to let you know that you may have been onto something about the statues of eagles. Remember when you talked about, didn't you talk about sort of like an eagle and give your volunteers that?
Well,
I was in
question
a
is,
family
when am I not onto
Christian.
something?
I was in a family.
Why would you
That
say
was
that
good.
to me?
I was in a family Christian store the other day and saw an amazing statue of an eagle for $35 and decided to stock up. I wanted to pass this on to you, so if anyone else listening has a desire to spur their volunteers onto new heights, you can now direct them to a tangible resource. So far, the resource on my end has been overwhelming. The eagle statue has been so successful that I think I might get my wife a teddy bear holding a heart for Valentine's Day next year. Thank you for the depth of insight you've given us.
You're welcome. And I detected a little bit of sarcasm.
say, I think that's
I thought it was well written.
At the end,
and
I realized he's
and
mocking
I
me.
don't appreciate that.
I thought that was legit.
What would John Maxwell do without the eagle?
Without the eagle.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris Austin. Oh, this was wanting to know how to get podcasts up.
Oh, someone needs to email me this email
Why?
so I don't have to retype it.
Okay, we will work on that.
Matt, I think for punishment for not posting for the last 3 months, you should have typed it.
Yeah. Lyle Parker has an interesting deal with my goatee soul patch.
We already heard from Lyle.
I think he's a little bit of a stalker.
Okay.
Because he's got a little history of. I noticed it at the National Youth Ministry Conference, and it bothered me
Is he
that I
creepy?
shaved it. He says I look old now without it, but now I've got it back on. He wrote July 18th. I mean, come on, you must be pushing 50 by now. 45.
Not with that fancy hat,
Yeah.
indie rocker.
The soul patch at least added some mystery to your presence, or maybe there are some denial issues with aging going on. Well, that's obvious. And that is why you leave it on your 8x10 glossy. I didn't know I had an 8x10 glossy. Andy, are you selling stuff on the side?
Yeah, Brazel is.
No, but you do have a
Pull out
bio
that
shot.
fun
Remember
for
your
the
last
text.
one? It's like super dark. It looks like you're inside a cave.
I don't
For your
know.
latest book.
That's just to look more serious as an author.
I have no idea.
Sometimes
Oh,
authors
yeah.
have to look a little more.
No, Lyle, I
like
appreciate
Stephen
I
King.
appreciate you paying attention to anything. So thank you. And
Thank
right
you.
now,
I think you're
I'm
in the
doing
zone
the
right there.
goatee, but it has a lot of gray in it,
That's
which is
nice,
why I
though.
shaved it a couple years
No,
ago.
it's good.
But I'm kind of dealing with the gray a little
Embrace.
bit.
We're on limited
Embrace.
time here, and that's what you read?
I thought it was something else. I gotta tell you, I read the podcast emails this morning, but the hospital trip kind of threw me off.
Fair enough.
So I would ask you to get emotional, but I know that would be difficult to do. All right, send your questions to podcast at Simply Youth Ministry. Jake, how would you evaluate your
I
performance
have
on
to
the
say,
show?
my view is that I always suck when I'm on the show. So today, I felt very comfortable. I had a great time. I would give myself 4 stars.
Out of
4.
4 out of 4.
Yes.
Okay.
If this was Star Search,
Okay.
and I had just walked out on stage,
What do you think?
I don't know. I have to think about
Come
it.
on, no, come on, just be impulsive.
Be impulsive.
You don't
How
have to
was he
be-
today? Well, he kind of razzed me a little bit, which I don't really like. So that's 1 star out of 4.
1.
it's good for the people, though. It's not for you.
Yeah, I wasn't doing it star-wise. I was thinking A through F.
Oh, you know what? If I was serious, I'd say I did a B job.
No. You were A.
Oh, great.
You were A. Yeah.
Oh.
You know what? Well, here's part of the problem that
I'd
I'm
say
not
B
sure
plus.
makes a good show.
Yeah.
Is that the three of us are so darn comfortable with each other.
Yes.
Much like when Jan is here and when Josh is here, we need somebody that makes us feel uncomfortable, and then we'd probably.
I don't make you feel uncomfortable enough.
You make me feel
You do.
awkward.
Your comments do.
Okay.
It just adds the
We,
stuttering.
what I think we need is we just need someone to read the questions.
You know what? I will say, it's a lot easier with 3 people as opposed to 4.
Yeah.
Easier for
Yeah,
me.
you did step on people a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know the flow. I don't know the flow.
No, you did a great job. I would
appreciate
give
that.
you
All
an A.
seriousness,
If I never get
thought
voted
he was
back, I
great.
appreciate
No,
the
you could
opportunity.
vote
In
it
all
back.
seriousness, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'd rather have you than Andy.
Oh. I was.
Brazel
yeah.
would do terrible if you brought Brazel on the show. I know the.
Andy would all be
home-
about sales. Watch, he's got a plug right now. It would
Well,
be
did you
plug.
see
What's
the
a
one
plug?
about
What?
it?
See, look,
Did you see
1
the
minute
one
Bible.
about September 15th for $9.99.
Wow.
September 15th through September 15th, $9.99 for the 1 minute
Coof,
Bible.
coof, coof.
Or as Andy writes on the board, QQQ.
That is the worst.
QQA. Andy has the worst writing. Sometimes when I look at my son's writing, Andy,
never
it's really
seen
bad.
Yeah.
I actually now think, okay, he'll be okay. He'll be okay.
Yeah.
Andy's is.
You think Andy's okay?
I think Andy's done very well for himself. I think he's a hard worker. I think he's a good leader. I think he runs Simply Youth Ministry excellently, and he writes like crap.
You know what?
Yeah,
One,
most
one,
people type
one
these
knock.
days.
Yeah, that's
Your wife's
true.
here. She's kicking you out. You
My
gotta
wife's
go.
here. We got to go. All right, next week, podcast.
Marriage show.
Would you like to come back?
I'd love
I don't
it.
think Jana will be here.
Dude.
No, Janet's gone
I'd
for
be
2.5
super
months.
honored.
Okay, why don't you come back?
Great.
Okay,
I love it.
and we'll get some clearer questions, and I'll do a
Great.
better job prepping.
I'll try and get those
this is my
volunteers
fault.
back.
Okay.
It's got just enough youth ministry so that you don't feel guilty listening.